Here.
Trustee Schultz.
Present.
Trustee Markwart.
Here.
Trustee Cook.
Here.
Trustee Hebda. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Are there any citizens that wish to address the board tonight? Okay. Here, you got the agenda there. Jesus. No, here it comes back. Hey, Mike, would you just give me an agenda off of the dais? This tablet's. Oh, it's right here? Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, okay. All right, citizens, blah, blah, blah. Official reports, none. This is scary. Omnibus vote agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A through M?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, unfinished business, approval of Kemper voucher list of bills dated January 22nd, 2013, in the amount of $2,114.76. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Abstain.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of village board minutes of January 9th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
So made. Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, questions, deletions, additions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Abstain. Okay, motion carries. All right. Okay. Any new business or communication come before the board?
Yes, sir.
Trustee Schultz.
Just wanted to comment on a couple of things. Within tonight's omnibus agenda was the abatement of the property tax for the various bonds that we owe, and we need to do that every year. But kind of what brings this a little bit more around for myself was that several weeks ago, the Daily Herald ran an article in which they talked about the highest property taxes in the suburban community, and they neglected to put in there the fact that Vernon Hills has zero property tax. And so I wrote them a letter, which wound up being published, I think, last Thursday in the letters to the editor, just to reiterate to the folks, the good folks in Vernon Hills, that we do not collect a village property tax. And in fact, each year we wind up abating it. We have to go through the hoops of establishing a property tax to pay off our bonds, but then we go through the additional step of abating it each year so that there is no property tax. And the Daily Herald was very nice to print my letter, and they also called me and said, yeah, in the future, we'll make sure that we include all the good folks that are at zeros and not just the folks that are charging exorbitantly high ones. So that was the new business communication that I wanted to bring before the board.
Well, plus, you know, we have a new reporter. So.
No, that was the Daily Herald.
Well, we have a new reporter here too, which I probably should write a letter to their editor. It's a little fuzzy on some math, so. But anyway. Okay. All right, with that said, is there a motion to adjourn the,
All right.
the board meeting?
Hold on.
No,
What do we got? Oh. Who's lit up here?
that would be me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I just wanted to give the board a heads up. Next Wednesday, we're holding the public hearing with regards to Westfield. The improvements, the landscape plan, the various zoning entitlements associated with their project. Public hearing will start at 7:30 here. Notices have been sent out to the surrounding property owners, and we're receiving a few calls left and right from folks. So it's just an FYI for the community. So.
Is that P and Z or?
Yeah, Planning and Zoning Commission, right, and they'll be considering various special use permit requests for restaurants with alcohol, the theater, entertainment uses, landscaping, building elevation, and site approvals. So,
That's next Wednesday.
correct, January 30th at 7:30.
Will they have any additional information about people who've signed contracts yet, or?
Likely not, other than the Dave and Buster's, which we saw here about a month ago.
They have signed?
No,
No.
no, waiting on the theater deal.
The big kahuna.
They said they weren't going to.
They said that the theater,
Everybody's kind of waiting on that, so that's why we don't know who's going there.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other new business communication? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the board meeting and go to committee of the whole?
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schwartz,
Aye.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hebda, Trustee Cook,
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Mayor Byrne.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. First item of business is approval of committee of the whole minutes of January 9th, 2013. Is there a motion to approve?
So made.
second,
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hebda, Trustee Cook,
Aye.
Trustee Markwart,
aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Aye.
Trustee Williams, Mayor Byrne.
Abstain. Motion carries. Okay, first item is the Vern Hills Golf Course 2013-14 budget. Well, Baxter can go to the end of the line, so. No, I'm only kidding. Baxter Credit Union presentation of concept plans for a proposed, yeah. Automatic changing copy sign at 340 North Milwaukee Avenue, Continental Executive Park. Even though they're in arrears to the American Brain Tumor Association. You know.
I could give a brief summary, Mr. Mayor, as they're setting up their displays. The Baxter Credit Union is appearing tonight for a concept presentation, as you stated, for their plans for an automatic changing copy sign. For tonight's meeting, Baxter is simply requesting feedback from the board, and no formal action is being requested. The sign in question would be located adjacent to Milwaukee Avenue and would replace the existing sign at that location. The proposed height of 8 feet and the proposed size of 50 square feet would comply with the sign code. Additionally, they would comply with the 10-foot setback requirement, which is also required by the sign code. The variation that would be required would be for the automatic changing copy, and Baxter will go into detail as far as what they're proposing. The display that's shown on the plans and attached to your packet and on the board would be used to convey BCU taglines along with time and temperature. They could also display electronic safety alerts. The board may wish to also consider anything else, community events and those type of things. Again, copies of the plans are attached to your packet. And for tonight's meeting, again, Baxter is just looking for feedback from the board, and after listening to the board's comments, they can then make a decision if they want to move forward with a public hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variation. And if they did so, the ZBA's recommendation would then come back to the village board for final consideration. And again, BCU can offer further details for you.
Trustee Schultz.
What is the ownership of Baxter Credit Union? Does Baxter Laboratories have ownership of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Give you a little background to it. Baxter Healthcare started the
Did you
credit.
state your name for the record, please?
Oh, excuse me, Mike Valentine. I'm the president CEO of the credit union. Going to make up on those back things. Mr.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But back to Baxter Healthcare. Baxter Healthcare started the credit union in 1981 in Deerfield. And from there to today, we kind of evolved to different things. And one of the many things that we do, we serve companies in the community like Medline, CDW, Cardinal Health, ITW, Brunswick, as well as people that are in the community. We have 33,000 members of the credit union that live and reside in Lake County. Other than that, we have about 170,000 members of the credit union throughout the United States and Puerto Rico. But it's a cooperative, it's a co-op or a cooperative credit union, not for profit. We're a financial institution, full service financial institution, and we're owned by its members. You know, if a person's a member of the credit union, they have ownership in the credit union.
So Baxter doesn't have a ownership position?
No, Baxter does not have an ownership position.
That's what I needed
Yeah.
to know. Thank you.
And to give you a little more background into what we are, as some of you know, I know the mayor was here and some of you others. We moved into the park in 1999 on a building off of Lakeview and Bunker, and quickly kind of grew to another building down the street on Bunker, and finally now we're on 340 North Milwaukee. We moved into that building about 4 years ago. I hope we're done moving. We've got a 100,000 square foot building. We lease the building. I think we're 4 years in a 12-year lease, to give you a little background to that.
It's a LEED certified building, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Silver LEED.
Silver lead, thank you. And that's one of the big
Who
things
was
we
the
do.
guy that was the lead guy in that for you, the operations guy?
Robin Netzel, would that been the name? You remember? Or
Who was it?
Rob Granaccio?
Who was it? Is he still with you?
Yeah. No, he's in Maryland now. He left.
But he works for
Yeah.
BCU?
Yep, he used to work.
Yeah,
at
he's the guy that wouldn't return my phone calls.
All right, I will duly take note of that. But the other thing that we do is we're very involved in the community. Not enough, I think, that we'll have to improve
Yeah, I
ourselves.
saw all these things you're listing there, and it's impressive, but, you know, it's okay.
And so with that, I guess we're open, for questions. We have our North Shore signs here, Art Solis. We also have our landscape architect here, Pam Self. But as the commissioner said, one of the things we're very interested in is input, what the trustees are looking for. We'd love to move ahead with this. It's a big project for us. The reason we're doing it, I thought the commissioner put it very well, is we are looking, if you look at our sign, you see it today, it just says BCU. And that was fine back when we moved in and we were trying to get in. We really don't have any identity to the community to say people can join. They know they can join if they go to our website. Somebody gets word of mouth to each other. But we'd like to kind of make a bigger splash into the community because we serve them so well. And we do a really good job with that.
So it's replacing an existing sign?
Correct. Yeah.
Which signs? Wait a second. What sign is on Milwaukee Avenue now?
The sign on Milwaukee
Is
is
that one
on the
on
left.
the
Oh, is that one?
Art,
To the left.
Good evening. My name is Art Solis, and I work for North Shore Sign, the company that designed both signs for that matter. The original sign is the smaller one that you see here, designed with the sign criteria for that particular corporate parkway in mind, where it's only 10 feet wide, 4 feet in sign face, and because of the pitch of the mound or the ground here, it had a 4-foot base at the far end. Whereas the new design, again, is only 11.
Could we get the mic for you?
I'm
the-
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, for the folks at home.
You may have to turn it.
There. The new sign is 11 feet wide, and again, as Mike had mentioned, based on the sign criteria, to the top of the C was 8 feet. So the stonework that's beyond it is another foot and a half taller. When it came to designing the new concept, Baxter came to me and asked, well, what can you do? Can you use something that we already have in the building? And I looked at that, then I looked at what's around, drove around the corporate parkway and saw a lot of the natural landscape that was there, and that's my idea. That's where I wanted to tie this particular design in, using stone as the background for this display and using a lot of planting and stone at the bottom to tie in with that entire massive area. The electronics that you see in there is a color electronic message center, LED, 25 millimeter pixel pitch, and again, it's to convey the messages that Baxter wants to use it for, to advertise their facilities to everyone, and also to use for the village too. I think it'd be a fantastic tool for coming events of what's happening around town. It's controlled within the facilities with their computer. It's a remote network control. It also has the feature of displaying time and temperature, and it has a dimming feature with it. So at night, it will dim down in color value, in brightness.
I got a question. Is this sign smaller than CDW's? Okay, and you're
Yes,
not
it
going to
is.
be displaying employee birthdays?
No,
Because
I hope not.
the reason we gave, you know the history on why we, and Rob knows, why we gave the sign to CDW. You want to take a guess, or?
Well, I believe it was because the contract, the signing of the contract, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we obviously get a lot of sales tax revenue from them, and banks don't give us anything. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. No, that's special. Okay.
They could put your birthday up there if you.
I don't want my birthday up there, you know. You know, a picture of me with my ARP card.
With the snowman?
Snowman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, getting back to.
Follow-up to the mayor, that's the only problem I really have with it is the electronic part being the tagline. I don't have a problem with time and temperature, that's fine, but, yeah, and we got into this earlier with other signs.
Westfield with
Yeah,
signs, yeah.
with, if you let a sign go in without a whole lot of restrictions on it, you can put up whatever you want, and we don't want it to be a source of any controversy whatsoever. And your tagline is fine, but why don't you just put it in fixed letters?
Council, can you refresh my memory on,
Well, this is something, in all honesty, guys, that's percolating because of the proposed, expansion of the shopping mall and some of their requests, and which we don't know how far we're going with that yet, so.
So with message signs like this, what happens is we've got an on-premise, off-premise issue where if you're just advertising about your business, that's an on-premise advertisement, and it's not a problem. If you were to advertise anything outside BCU, that becomes off-premise advertising, and if we're going to allow that, we have to allow it everywhere in the village. So a policy decision has to be made if they want to open that door, even on a small sign
Well,
like this.
but in essence, if they're advertising strictly for BCU,
That would still be okay.
Right.
and not get us into that
Right.
outdoor advertising topic.
and what was the trick bag again about community, not-for-profit type stuff versus, I mean, as long as, aren't we still okay on that, or?
Community events, yes, but I suppose it depends what we, the village, consider to be a community event and what BCU might consider to be a community event.
But
Yeah,
as
I
long
mean,
as
if
there's
they're
no
giving
commercial
a-
advertising is what I'm,
if they're giving away toasters and they want you to come with your dog there for a bone or something?
Or there's an event for some of the corporations that they're serving, and
Right.
now.
Well, they have an event, or you've had an event annually, right? The car show, or sales. And so they're basically selling used cars.
Right, but what I'm asking is,
That would be a problem, right?
Yes.
are we okay as long as they're not selling, advertising space to somebody else? Because that was
Right,
the
right.
big thing with the mall, was it was going to be a revenue generator.
Well,
And once you do that, you're open to,
It's not so much the revenue generation aspect of that.
Okay.
It's the fact that, for example, one of the things we discussed in the mall is, they're going to advertise Cadillac or any dealership. Whether they're getting money or not, that's an off-premise advertisement.
But that's something you could put the proper language in
Yes.
whatever we approve here,
Yes.
okay?
okay.
And then we need, like a serious contribution for the light that never got put in, the permanent light at the intersection leading into CDW and Baxter.
Okay.
Forget the American Brain Tour.
We moved on to others. Well, we have no interest in advertising outside of us, to your point. You make a very good point on the car sale. Would we say, and we would be more than happy to live within whatever you all think we should on some of that. I don't plan on using it a lot. We plan on using it in our tagline, I think is the big thing. Might be rates, we have a CD special or a car loan special, that type of thing.
You do mortgages?
Yes. We did $1 billion in mortgages last
Yeah.
year.
Okay, I mean, I know I'll ask you, I've been kind of ranking on you here, but I don't have a problem with the sign. So long as we can work out the language,
Because it's one of those, when you sit up here, it's one of those boxes that you don't want to open because it's like unfolding a map because you can't get it ever to fold back up.
Okay.
And once we allow one person to use any kind, whatever they want on there, then you have to let everybody do it.
Right.
Yeah, I think it would, go a long way is if it was just time and temp, and that was it, and, your tagline, whatever you decide,
Whatever else.
yeah, would
can
be
work out.
fixed, that would be terrific. That would be the number one solution, is just time and temp and whatever
Well, it-
business tagline you've got in fixed permanent letters. That would be perfect. Everything else is
yeah.
going to require our attorneys and your attorneys to get involved.
Which I don't, I understand what you're saying, trustee Schultz, but I don't have a problem with this, just so long as it's limited to your specific use. I mean,
And/or whatever council tells us is legal
Right.
without
You know what I
opening up
mean?
the
If
box.
there's-
And I'm sure we can work that out.
Yeah.
If they're willing to keep it focused on BCU, I don't see that we'll have a problem with
all
that.
right. Is there a motion to approve? Oh, do you want,
It would be a motion to send it.
So really no formal action is requested. It was just concept presentation,
Oh, okay.
BCU taking the opportunity to get your feedback, and I
Right.
think they've heard your voice, so.
they still got to go to ZBA?
Yeah, so now
Okay.
what we'll do is
Fine.
we'll do a public notice and schedule them for a hearing before the ZBA. Ultimately, that recommendation will come back to you for final consideration.
Yeah, the two biggest things I like, first of all, it's replacing an existing sign.
Right.
So that makes it palatable. And I like what you've done with the
Grounds are.
landscaping and the stone base in that. It's very, very nice.
Agreed.
Like any more explanation about
This
the
point?
landscape
No.
or anything?
No, the
No,
pictures,
I would move on.
yeah.
Okay.
Pictures are wonderful.
Yeah.
You're ahead, and I.
So,
think this
you
is
wanna
a
do-
beautiful design.
This
There's
is
the disclaimer.
concept review by the board. There's nothing binding. You could come back through the process and you could end up with a 6-0 vote no. This is to give you their preliminary feedback, but there's nothing binding on it until you go through the process.
Thank you very much for the input. Appreciate it.
And I'd recommend too, you don't decide to put up a real big flag, because we got an ordinance against that.
No plans of that.
Well, CDW prompted us to
Oh,
bring a real ordinance to place, because they wanted to put one up bigger than this room,
Post
Wow.
flag.
So anyway,
All right,
thank you very much.
all right, you're welcome. Okay. Kemper budget.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees and village staff. Thank you. My name is Terry Hanley, Regional Operations Executive with Kemper Sports, and Just here, believe everybody received a packet with our marketing plan and then our financial overview. And just to highlight, 2012, the good news is the club golf course will make budget this year. And there's a couple things added to that. The success of that was in 2012, we had a very early start to the golf season, much earlier than previous years. And going into late fall, even with good golf, I think with good weather for golf, I remember back on Thanksgiving, it must have been 70+ degrees. And a lot of people were able to take advantage of that and get out and play. And I think just 2 weeks ago, we still had 30 rounds of golf on one day. So it's nice to see that the golf course stays extremely active in this tough economy that we're in. For 13, or going back to 12, I think a couple other highlights, and OB can expound on this as well, but our junior golf program continues to grow and continues to stay extremely active, which is just a terrific sign that we're feeding the system and getting younger people involved and getting them acclimated to golf, and hopefully that grows the golf business in the future. I don't know, OB, you want to talk a little about any of the events that happened or highlight any of the events that took place in 12? No. You did? But we will make budget, as I said. We did about 20,000 rounds in 2012. Going into 2013, we looked at this budget and analyzed a lot of different angles, looked at this from a lot of different angles. And throughout our company, with the close to 95+ golf courses throughout the country, we still are going in with a very flat budget in majority of our golf courses, even the high-end daily fee to the 9-hole golf course here in town. We just don't see the signs of major growth out west, which really kicks off this golf season for us, and the measurements that we use. They continue to stay flat to 12, which is not a bad thing. It's just we don't see any dramatic issues going backwards. So we are presenting a budget for 2013 to stay relatively flat throughout the year, with both revenues, golf rounds, and expenses. And it will be slight growth of about $2,000 over 2012 on the net income for the village to $45,000. And this year, we're going to end with just a little over $43,000. And the nice, again, great sign here in this village and this golf course is that we continue to grow that bottom line year over year. So we brought another $3,000 down to the bottom line over 2011. And capital dollars spent, I think with the money invested from the village in 2012, we saw an uptick in spend with different catering events because of the piece of furniture that was built, and with what OB and the staff have done, trying to grow that catering business and the private party business. And going into 13, I know we have approximately about $45,000 in capital spend. The biggest investment would be carpet for the golf course and clubhouse, office furniture, and a new pro shop desk, or a redesign of the pro shop desk. And the other highlight in 2013 that we're bringing to the table and would like to continue to discuss, and I know it's the village trust attorney is looking at this, but we partnered with a company called EasyLinks. And what EasyLinks has done for our golf courses the last year and a half, there's three major components. They bring to the table a much greater online presence for tee time availability and purchasing. And we have seen through the technology, the age of technology, people are making tee times on the internet much faster and at a greater pace than we've ever seen before, as opposed to calling a golf facility and making a tee time by phone. The other aspect that they bring to the EasyLinks brings to our partnership within Kemper Sports is a call center that will answer any call 24 hours a day. And it's up to OB and the staff there to decide when to turn calls over to the call center. But they answer the call, Vernon Hills Golf Course, thank you for calling Vernon Hills Golf Course. They go right into our tee sheet. They can capture email. They will automatically capture email addresses for people making tee times. They capture the credit card right over the phone. And it grows our database. It gives us greater exposure on the internet. And we trade out some tee times with them to do that throughout the year. And they also can provide some equipment, and we can get into that once we go through some of the finer points of that partnership. But and I think EasyLinks has been a great company to work with because they value what every golf course brings to this. and they work with every municipality, especially municipalities, to make sure we're addressing your concerns and the aspects of the business side. So I think that's what the biggest highlight in 13, and we're, you know, proud to be a partner with them, and we think we can definitely grow the business within, down the road for Vernon Hills Golf Course as well. The other highlight in this budget is a slight increase in daily fee rounds. We have not had an increase, I think, over 5 years now, maybe even 6. We're proposing to put a $1 increase on daily fee rounds in there. That still keeps us extremely competitive within the market and within our competitive set. I believe we're still going to be, when you look at annual passes, daily fee rounds, we still will either be below our competitive market set or even with them. And, you know, we're at this point, we continue to try never to raise increases, put rate increases in, but with the cost and the expenses that we've inherited, continuing especially with fuel, food costs, those other items that have continued to grow, we've managed not to provide an increase in daily fee, but we're at a point where we have to make that push of $1 for the rates this year going into 13. And
You know, Larry, if you've taken a look at this and gone through it and with Mike and Jan, or?
No, but I will say they have a history in recent years of being conservative and meeting the budget, so, but I really haven't
Not yet.
analyzed it or discussed it with
Okay.
Mike or John.
So there's no capital improvements to the course itself?
No, sir.
Not in 13. We have not, we're still working on some issues out, you know, we continue to look at some of the issues on the golf course, but we surveyed our golfers in the fall of 2012. We had about 75 users of the golf course take the survey, and the golf course itself, course conditions, primarily course conditions, have rave reviews, and that is also in the packet. There's a grid in the packet that shows the survey results are. And I think the lowest score we've received is still over 3.5, when it's in 1 out of 5 being the best. The golf course continues to rate very well with our daily fee players and our annual pass holders, and even the 1 or 2 time person who's come out and played. So we've had a good mix and a good, you know, representation, we believe, of who took that survey. But Mayor, to your question, we have not had any major concerns or issues come up with the golf course, other than trying to manage some of the growth in the creek and what happens on number.
So, Dave, how often are you doing any kind of work at the golf course? And is there anything that you and your, you know, employees feel needs to be done or should be improved, or?
Yeah, a couple things are going on. Certainly, a new improvement that they did for the golf course that has been well received is the driving range nets. You know, I think that has worked really, really well. In terms of some of the things, recent activities, we've worked through some of the tree removals. Emerald ash borer is a problem on that site. Also Dutch elm disease. So we've done some removals, also stump grinding. As you know, Lake County Public Works installed a sanitary sewer. They're going to finish things off in the spring. They had a water main break that was just upstream, so the season didn't allow, so it kind of made a water mattress off of the first tee. So we're going to work with them to make sure it's done acceptable to OB and to myself.
How about improvements to the, you know, the clubhouse, let's say the HVAC, or to the roof? I mean, when was the last time we did roof work there?
OB, when was the last time we did the roof?
Before me. So it's been a long time.
I don't, you know, I'm just.
But we had Gene Schroeder, one of his top guys, out to give us a pretty good inspection of the building, and nothing's glaring at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
And trying to help, real quick on the outside, Lake County Public Works, as far as them installing the sanitary, does have 4 trees that they're gonna donate to the village. We'll work with OB to have those installed. In terms of the building itself, as OB said, Gene went through the building, took a look at what the needs are. We're sitting pretty good for this budget year. There are long-term needs that we still need to address, but for this year, there wasn't any
I mean,
immediate pressing items.
You know, is anybody really, you know, actually done an assessment of the HVAC in there, especially the air conditioning?
There has not been a recent one, no.
Well, who are we using for maintenance now?
Hayes,
Yeah.
Who is it?
Hayes
Hayes.
Mechanical. They
What, are they
got-
the same one for the village?
Yes, they're doing all of our buildings.
Well, I'd like to see that, you know, and you know, it's not a simple, you know, issue, but, you know, if you get enough people in there for a party, it can get dicey. I don't know, maybe it's just got something to do with, you know, the exit to the golf course from the bar area, you know, and it's not that, but I mean, you know, in other words, you know, do we need?
The heat itself has worked better in the last 5 years than
Yeah.
ever, because I had issues a long time ago with
Right.
that. Seems like that keeps up. You are correct. If it's 95 and there's 50 people, but if the door gets opened 100 times a day,
Yeah.
I don't honestly know if you can matter.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, does it mean, you know, to do something to that side exit? I don't know, you know what I mean? It's
When
like,
you're in there hot, you
Yeah.
go to the units and they're pumping cold
Yeah.
air just as hard
Yeah.
as they can pump. So I don't know if you can overcome.
I'd like, you know, just, again, you know, this is, you know, obviously the buildings are ours, you know, Kemper, you know, manages the course, and, runs it day in and day out. But I'm just saying, you know, is there some, you know, I guess, capital improvement to the building or to the systems in there? Because now, I mean, that building's now what? 18 years old, right? So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to paint, when was the last time we painted it? The last 5 years?
It's
Painted
been within
was-
5 years.
I'd look it up, but it's right around 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, we painted.
Okay, and then what about the maintenance building? What do we need to do there? I mean, the siding is, you know,
We've done some recent improvements, but
They replaced a lot of the bad, fixed it up. They're gonna have to
I mean,
replace
the
another.
outside siding?
Yeah, the outside
What
was
that,
done.
what's that, like a cedar or is it some kind of wood, right?
Some type of wood that has some
P-111
issues.
plywood.
Yeah, they've replaced some of it. They got a couple of pieces
Yeah.
to replace.
so
but
about 3 years ago, we went through that. We gussied it up, given a low, really no budget. We certainly could look at what we need to do long-term.
Yeah, I mean, the maintenance building, I mean, you know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the roof doesn't leak and that's about it, right?
No, they
You know.
painted inside, they
Yeah.
painted outside, they
Yeah,
spruced
but
it
I mean,
up
the
without-
electrical systems are okay in there?
We just put in new electric for
Right.
all the electric plug-ins for
Right,
the carts,
right.
and went through the inside of that.
Okay,
But I know where you're headed. Actually, Dave from my staff is, with his promotion, he's been going to all the different buildings. He's compiling a book. It'll be interesting. We'll share all that information, and we know you want us to look a little bit closer at this building too. So we'll provide a report.
yeah. And also, I know, you know, we haven't done it in a while, but how do we address the, you know, the cart paths that, you know, I think we'd all like to see, but I mean, we haven't looked at that in what, 4 or 5 years? You know, and so,
In all honesty, for the last couple of years, it would be nice. We went through, we drew it all, we picked out the 2 or 3 main spots that if you ever did would be nice.
Yeah.
I myself don't think it justifies the money to do the entire course.
yeah, but
But
we're,
the
we're,
couple-
we're the
key
couple of spots.
The key spot's number one.
One,
When you have a huge downpour, and what we do to fix it, I've got caution tape to the max.
right,
You put a driveway through, they tear it up for 2 days when it's wet, then you close that off and it heals in a week. It's not a huge thing. It would be nice to have a path on one. That's really about the only
to
issue.
take it all the way to the green,
Yep, no, just to the creek,
just the creek.
just on this side, the
And then
fairway
what-
side.
What other hole, any other hole?
Next one would be
The
up
green
around,
floor.
believe it or not, up around 4 or 5. That area is the highest, but it's wet, and it wouldn't hurt to have a small one on 3. But otherwise, it really is not a huge issue, because 3 can go underwater if you get enough.
Yeah.
But by roping it off and then roping it back off to keep people out of what they tore up, 7,
Yeah,
8, 9, 10
yeah,
days,
yeah, yeah.
it heals up pretty quick. We haven't had to close. We had one outing 3 or 4 years ago that we learned we don't have to, because there was this much water to go through those trees.
Right,
and
right.
It didn't hurt the course, and we had the outing.
And how's the dam holding up out there, that,
It's doing very well. Well, actually, the,
whatever it is? You know, the falls.
it's doing well. Well, actually, the original dam was removed.
Right.
So we don't have a dam going through the
Right.
CV.
Okay.
There is a board for the pond to hold the water back, because we have the well dumping the water into the pond.
At 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
And if it makes sense, you know, before we do anything on capital, if it makes sense to take some money and start putting a reserve once the book's put together and once we analyze the building, you know, we're open to look at that each year and start creating a reserve. But we do not see any glaring issues today
Yeah, okay.
that start
No, you
jumping
know.
out. But it is a 18-year-old building.
Right.
And, you know, I'm certain there's going to be, in about 2, 3, 4 years, I'm certain we're going to have some things to invest in.
Yeah, you've got an 18-year-old kitchen.
Right.
That you could
Right.
definitely use a little cleanup, fix up, patch up, whatever, but a lot of the equipment is starting to show some wear. I mean, the walk-in cooler, you've had, Mike work on that a couple of times to keep that running.
3rd fridge I'm on, and 3rd compressor in the walk-in cooler. But those are gonna go. The
Right.
walk-in cooler itself is structurally sound as it
Right.
can be. It just, by moving the compressor out of the back room outside a couple of years ago, that took a
Helps with
lot
the
of pressure,
ventilation,
yes, took a lot of pressure off of that.
Is that one freezer still freezing up completely?
It's 13 years old this year. It's hanging in. It's starting to talk to us a little bit, but that's nothing major. That's it's a couple of $1,000, but
Yeah.
it's not a major thing when
Yeah.
it finally goes.
Yeah.
Okay, trustee Cook?
You're also raising passes
We
anywhere
are.
from 10 to 15%?
Correct, we are, but we're also, with that said, we're also providing a preferred price then on the carts so if you play, you know, we're looking to give a $2 savings on the cart from prior year. So if you play, and a lot of our pass holders play more than 50 rounds, they'll see that money
Yeah,
back
make it up.
immediately.
Okay.
So, and I think we have approximately 82 annual pass holders right now. And we're not looking to grow. We don't see that piece of the business growing as much. In fact, we're keeping that flat again, just because we believe the incremental income that people have to spend is still tight. And, you know, we don't see that a golf pass being on a priority for a lot of people right now, as opposed to electric bills and tuitions, so.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right,
We need a,
that's about it, right? Well, it's got to come back for
Yeah.
final.
so do we need a motion at this level?
Not really, do we?
you have approved this budget in the past on the committee of the whole agenda, and it has not come back.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, during the budget process?
It typically is not voted, it's voted here, and
Yeah,
then
and
that's
if we
the
want to
end of
do capital improvements, it doesn't matter.
it. Correct.
Yeah.
Well, it just comes back under omnibus, right?
It hasn't in the past.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we can bring it back under omnibus and do a resolution if you want. I mean, however you want to do it. We've kind of done it both ways.
Okay, well, is there a motion to approve this year's budget,
So made.
2013?
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Cook.
Aye?
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz.
Abstain?
Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Mayor Byrne.
Aye, motion carried. Okay,
Great, thank you. And
are we going to closed session tonight?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, this is a ray of sunshine. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole?
So made.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Schultz.
Aye.
Trustee Schwartz. Trustee Williams. Trustee Hebda. Trustee Cook.
Aye?
Mayor Byrne.
All right, motion carries. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, you got on TV. They also got on TV